The Ticket.
Everybody's close by their phones, and I get why. A couple of reasons here on Prater in the Ball Game. One, we want to hear from you right now. Come on, armchair defensive coordinator, Little League football coach. Where are you, football mastermind of a listener to Idaho Sports Talk? How is this defense fixable on the blue? What you've seen so far with this defense, coaching, personnel, scheme. We want to hear what you have to say. 208-424-9300. This is our video segment, so you can find this on forms of social media, particularly our YouTube channel for KTIK, and it's brought to you by the Dollar Loan Center. So, Prater, we're off and running. Yesterday, we hit that quarterback controversy / two-quarterback system very hard. Today, maybe where the real issues are, and that's with the D.
I really, truly believe the biggest issue is the defense, and we weren't hiding it yesterday. We felt like the quarterback conversation needed to have a serious conversation Monday, and today we're going to dive into this defense, which I really do believe is the biggest issue. Can't wait to hear what you guys have to say, and if you have anything to say about the quarterbacks or anything else about this football team, this entire half hour is dedicated to you and trying to fix what's going on with Boise State football. But ball game, I'm a little bit baffled by for two reasons. One, how this defense got so bad so fast. The last 2 years, under the Andy Avalos regime, this defense has been really, really good. Really, really good. The previous 2 years, they averaged 19 points a game. I think they were 16th in the nation last year in points allowed. This year, they're not even on the chart. Well, that's not true because they're deep down on the chart. They've gone from 19.5 points a game to 31.6. This defense is historically bad. Here's the numbers, guys. Boise State has played 56 seasons of 4-year football. Only one other season has historically been as bad as what Boise State's doing right now. That's the 1996 season, the Tom Mason, Pokey Allen, Pokey Allen fighting for his life that season.
96?
96
their
season.
First year of FBS football, correct?
And they had lots and lots of program issues. They gave up 455 yards a game that year. And then number 2 on that list is this year, 433. 1993 was 414. They've only given up 400 yards a game per year, 6 times. And right now, this is the second worst season in Boise State defensive history. As for scoring, in 1996, the record is 38.3. Again, that was just a complete disastrous of a season.
Yeah.
Then comes 1997 with Houston Nutt at 33.5. This team is giving up 31.6. There's only been 4 seasons in the history of Boise State football where they've given up more than 30 points a game. This is number 3.
So it's on pace to be a historically poor defense on the blue, an all-time program low of defense on the blue. Maybe it isn't fixable. And if that's the argument that you're going to stick to, we want to also hear that at 208-424-9300. Why isn't this fixable in your opinion, Bronco Nation?
Yeah, and I spared everybody the gory details because you can go look at it yourself. And Johnny, you may have looked them up yourself, but in terms of all the defensive stats, where Boise State ranks in FBS, take every single defensive. There's 133 teams in FBS. Take every single defensive stat, and Boise State is probably somewhere between 105 and 130 in every one of those. It's ugly across the board.
Yeah. That's the real issue. Well, how do you fix it? Maybe that's what's the most important issue with this team. I'm just I'm getting sick and tired of being sick and tired with this defense. I heard Marco Notriani, he spoke to the media today and he said, it's eye control and it's discipline. And it feels like the same excuses we've been hearing since the Washington loss. And I don't know of any improvement really that we are seeing. They give up. Prater, you had the number. How many explosive plays? And these are plays 20 yards or more, big plays. How many are these guys giving up?
32 plays of 20 yards or more in the first 5 games. 32. That's 6 per game. That's ridiculous. Boise State, I think, is almost dead last, if not close to dead last, somewhere around the 128 to 132 range. Yards per play, they're giving up 6.8. Last year, it was 4.8. They're giving up across the board 2 yards per every play. So now all of a sudden you put in a 60-play football game times 2 yards. That's some of the issues. The other 2 issues, the explosive issues are an issue. Third downs are just a frightening issue, and the lack of playmakers. Boise State has 11 sacks in 5 games. That's not enough for me. They only have 2 interceptions. That is absolutely not enough for me. So no playmakers on the back end, giving up explosive plays on the back end. The entire defense can't stop anybody on third down. That's a horrible, horrible number right now. Last year, Boise State opponents converted 31% of their third downs. This year, 43%. It's jumped to unbelievable numbers.
I think that is one of the bigger responsibilities to why the yardage is what it is too, Prater. If you're staying on the field, you're obviously running more plays. And dang it, this team, I remember at one point in the Memphis game, we'll hear from Spencer Danielson talking about that in a second, but at one point, the Memphis Tigers, I believe, were 2 for 8 on third down, maybe even 2 for 9.
I think I saw 2 for 9.
And then Prater, all of a sudden, in the end of the third, going into the fourth quarter, third down became the greatest lover that Memphis football has ever had. They picked everything up, and Boise State couldn't get off the field. And you're just looking at the numbers they're giving away. 290 passing yards per game and 145 yards rushing per game. These offenses are basically saying, okay, well, what do we want to do against these guys? Throwing works, running works. Obviously, the play action is probably working. They're not creating a lot of turnovers. You said they have 11 sacks this year. Damn it. 6 of them are against the FCS team.
Yes, sir.
Right? So they got 5 sacks against the other 4 teams. Not clearly good enough to play high-level college football if you cannot put pressure on the quarterback. And I guess my next question, too, and we can spend however many months on this. How the hell did this defense get here?
That's a great question, and I don't have an answer, and I'm not sure anybody has an answer. It's very confusing. It's very weird. A lot of the same players, they tried to make them better. Did they make them worse? No, they didn't do it on accident. There's certainly the same coaches for across the board. Here's another curiosity. This one's very curious as to me. In the first period this year, Boise State in 5 games has given up 10 points.
Say that again?
In the first period this year in 5 games, Boise State's given up 10 points. 10 points.
In the first quarter of every game combined this year.
In the third period, they've given up 26. So coming into the game, coming into the second half, they've given up 10 and 26 points. In the second quarter, Boise State's given up 64 points. And in the fourth quarter, Boise State's given up 58 points.
Damn, okay, so they get worse.
They get worse in the second quarter, and they get worse in the fourth quarter. And do I dare say that that's coaches making adjustments against Boise State on the fly and Boise State not adjusting back? Maybe Boise State Monday through Friday is prepared. They come out in the game. They only give up 10 points in the first quarter through all these games. And then all of a sudden, all hell breaks loose. I don't know what to connect that dots to. Between how they got so bad from last year to this year and why they're so bad this year and some of the other stat stuff, Ballgame, I'm thoroughly confused.
I want this defense to play a lot better. And we were at practice today, Prater, and so they call it an epiphany sometimes.
Yeah, sure.
JP, you're good at epiphanies. But I maybe had one today, Prater.
What was your epiphany today?
Well, I mean, I've seen Austin Bolt and some other receivers making a ton of plays in practice. And I'm like, whoa, gosh, there's another play from Static. Oh, Bolt, another good catch. So they're making all these plays. And it occurred to me today, I said, dude, I see all these players making all these plays, all these practices. Well, they're going against Boise State secondary. Like, okay, yeah, Austin Bolt looks really good. Yeah, he just had another catch over whatever DB was on him there. Other receivers for Boise State who are getting Billy Bowen's great. I mean, and maybe because of it, I was duped a little bit. And I'm thinking all these Boise State receivers are ready to have these huge breakout performances when, dang it to all heck, they're abusing some of Boise State's corners in these practices. I don't know how much of that makes sense to you guys, but man, the corners, when they leave them on an island, Prater, it has burnt the hell out of all of those ships that are landing before that island, Prater. They have really taken a nosedive on the island in the one-on-one forms. I can't think of a couple corners that have made more than a few plays this year to help them out, especially on third down.
Yeah, no, the corners have been bad. The secondary has been very inconsistent in terms of, 1 week it's Ty Benefield, 1 week it's another young secondary guy, and we get excited, and then the next week, I don't remember Ty Benefield's name being mentioned last week.
Yeah, I didn't either. Zion mentioned a little bit there, Washington, and you don't hear about him. You're right.
All up and down. Now, we do know that DJ Schramm, the heart and soul, the leader, the number one tackler on this football team, really hasn't played at all this season. He's played a little bit here, played a little bit there, but he's got a shoulder injury that's so bad that's even if he comes back, I'm not sure how productive he's going to be, and that's a massive, massive miss. Even though he's with the team spiritually and doing his thing to lead this football team, he's one of the captains. He is the heart and soul of this team.
Yep.
That one really, really bugs me.
Year for Schramm.
It's a big one, and that's too bad because I know he really, really wrestled with that idea to come back. Yeah. But Spencer Danielson in the offseason, guys, as you know, he's been here all 7 years. The previous 6 years, he's had spectacular numbers, not always as a defensive coordinator, but most recently as the defensive coordinator. He's had Power 5 offers. In the offseason, he signs the richest contract in Boise State assistant coaching history. He's being paid $425,000 this year, $450,000 next year. He's got a 2-year contract worth $875,000, and it's just not getting done. So I think that Danielson's the cornerback stuff, he leaves them on an island. I don't like that. They need some help.
Yeah.
He's hell-bent on that's the way he plays football, and hopefully he makes a few changes there. I also liked what was said last night on your show, the B&N show, with your boy Mike Sanford talking about Andy Avalos, talking about, and I don't know the answer to this, and I saw a lot of responses from people on your show. We don't know what Andy Avalos's game day responsibilities are in terms of calling the defense. And I promise you guys, next Monday, I will grill Andy Avalos about how he handles the defense for 3 hours on game day, how much he calls it. I would imagine that it's Spencer Danielson making a call and then some give and take. Your boy Sanford last night was saying that Andy Avalos maybe should get involved more in terms of calling defensive plays. I don't know how many he calls, if he calls any at all, or if he shares the play calling. Again, I think everything starts with Spencer, and just like the column I wrote the other day on the offense, change is needed. Change is needed on this defense, but ballgame, I have no idea where.
Yeah, and we can start with the end of the Memphis game and how the hell Memphis was able to, make picking up third down seem like an easy task just with the snap of a finger. Here's Boise State defensive coordinator Spencer Danielson talking about Memphis. What happened?
A bunch of stuff kind of came up for us. Obviously, first and foremost, I got to make sure our guys are in better positions at the end of that game, BJ. And from schematically to understanding the situations, obviously there's a couple defensive calls I'd like to have back, put our guys in better spots, and just the execution at the end of the game has to be better. And it definitely doesn't come from a lack of, detail and what we want to teach. But obviously the game we coach, the game our players play, we are judged and dictated on what happens these 12 nights a year. And that's the reason you love college football, is so much rides on these games. So you as a coaching staff and as our players, we put so much in to winning that football game. And we didn't get it done at the end of the game. And especially to your point, BJ, there's been a couple times, UCF, the 2-minute drive, San Diego State later in the game, Memphis, obviously this past weekend. And so we're looking at it holistically. Once again, how I can put our guys in better spots and how we can execute to get that stop, to keep it a 1-score game so our offense can go down and score and win the game.
Spencer Danielson, and again, you're hearing about detail. You're hearing about effort. You're hearing about dedication. You're hearing how everybody loves each other. You're hearing about the work ethic, but the job isn't getting done at the end of the day. Spencer Danielson also admitting that, and brings us to the focus right now. What for Spencer Danielson is the biggest focus with this defense right now?
The biggest focus for us as a whole group, as a whole unit, is just the discipline to do our job every play. And that doesn't just start on Saturday. And I don't say that in regards to that's the only thing. There's a lot of different things, from, like I said, schematically, me making sure our guys are in better spots, fundamentals, techniques. But we got, and I've told you guys this week in and week out, and I know it probably feels like that, we got a group of guys that this place cares to them. The brotherhood matters to them. They love playing for this team. They love being a part of this defense. Now it's just the discipline of my technique. And what exactly is my technique? And I got to be able to execute it at a high level consistently every single snap. And because you look at it, especially this game on Saturday was a really good picture of what defense is. Not perfect, but you're playing well earlier in the game. 4 plays equaled 14 points, right? That's the reality of, and we got to be way better. Starting with me to make sure we're in better spots. But that's what it is. And so the discipline to do our job, if it's from the front to the back end, and doing that consistently, and we can't have any lulls. And when that happens, explosive plays are created, and then a team's able to move the ball on you. And a huge emphasis for us going to that game was winning third downs. Obviously, San Diego State did not do a good job going into that last drive of the game. We did a good job playing third downs. Not perfect, but we had improved significantly, and we lost 3 big third downs on that last drive. And so once again, 100% starts and ends with me. I got to make sure our guys are in better spots to win those third downs.
And he meant Memphis on that, Prater.
Yep.
He slip of the tongue, said San Diego State. You hear a lot of Spencer Danielson on this show. Bronco Nation, 208-424-9300. Give us a call. We want to bring you on the show. Where are you right now with Spencer Danielson? You've heard a lot of the stuff, and what are your thoughts on your defensive coordinator here? It's never been this bad. Is it still going to get better? What hope are you holding out? Because when we come back, Prater, Spencer Danielson is going to talk about how difficult this whole thing is on him personally and professionally this year. It's got to be tough with the expectations of this program and the numbers that you said with this defense. They stink.
We also going to ask him, how are you going to fix these explosive plays? That's the big deal for me. Explosive plays, we'll dive deeper into that as well.
We're taking your calls, 208-424-9300. Thank you to the Dollar Loan Center. Visit don'tbebroke.com. Appreciate them being a part of our video segment. We're Prater in the Ballgame. This is Idaho Sports Talk, KTIK, The Ticket.
From the Beacon Plumbing Traffic Studios, this is Ticket Traffic.
Nothing too crazy with the drive, but busy